In 2015, Nigerians went all out to vote for a new president. The excitement that greeted their electoral choices made that election an issue of global importance. It was expected to bring a positive turnaround, but those expectations have so far not been realized. More than 6 years since that election and the emergence of the current president, that choice has been questioned by many. Typical of democratic nations, the poll is where the choices are made and where political errors get corrected. Conversations have started on how Nigerians can right the observable wrongs through the ballot, and the focus on VSA today is still finding Nigeria's president. Welcome to VSA. I'm Sulaiman. You know, the 2023 presidential election will be Nigeria's seventh since 1999. Conversations around who should become Nigeria's next president have begun, but more important than who, the question of what the next president must have has been identified as an issue of greater importance. Currently, problems are abounding in Nigeria, from insecurity to economic challenges and many other issues of national concern. And these have made Nigerians shift focus to the next administration, even when they are unsure of who's coming on board. Now, posters are flying, and the streets have seen traces of potential candidates, but so far denials have been more than acceptance of interest in becoming Nigeria's next president. However, this looks like business unusual for Nigerians. More than ethnic or tribal sentiments and religious leanings, the Nigerian populace are looking for a leader who will unite the country across its divisions and steer an economic development in tandem with the nation's abundance. Joining me on the square today to discuss this very important issue are two gentlemen, Showunmi, he's a political analyst, and Katch Ononuju, who's the Director General of the Heritage Center. Gentlemen, welcome to VSA. Quickly, let me start with you, Segun. You played a very active role in the last election, specifically 2019 election, being the spokesperson of the opposition's presidential candidate in that election. And we also saw you drive a lot of agenda, going on television and also speaking at different fora. What did that experience teach you about a typical presidential election in Nigeria, to start with?
Well, thank you very much. And it's nice to see Katch. That's my friend there. We mostly agree on all things except on some very... When we get in there, Katch, how are you doing? Let's take that out of the way. Now,
I'm fine,
I think the 2019 election showed that numbers matter in democratic elections. And it also shows that name recognition matters in democratic elections. And it also shows that the two main parties, the PDP and the APC, of course, are the parties that Nigerians connect with the most. And it also shows that if we are not careful, the narrative around leadership can be rammed down the throat of the Nigerian people in such a manner that they could even be slightly confused. Why do I say that, the last point? We were clear that after the President Muhammadu Buhari came on board in 2015, that he had started struggling, and it was clear that the country was not going in the right direction. It still beats me how a great number of our citizens were standing with him in 2019. Although we hope to view that election was rigged against us, but one will still have to ask, where do those numbers in the Northwest especially and the Northeast come from? Given that if there had been more alive to what's going on with them in those particular regions, Buhari has not done anything to protect them. Their lives have been worse off. So it therefore means that if we are not careful, collectively, the media, the narrative managers and all, we may also run into a situation where we get to 2023 and the narrative is skewed again, and the Nigerians are not able to see properly what is the right type of decision for them. They didn't follow young people, so we know that that didn't fly. They didn't follow any third force, so we know that didn't fly. The two main parties, the ADC and the BDC, got all of the numbers, and the recognized names on the ballot also did well. So I think that was an interesting experience. We tried to keep it very clean from our own side by insisting that the conversation should be about issues. But the leopard never changes his claws. They are not used to civil engagement in political space. They made it a bit dirty. At some point in time, they almost dragged us into that kind of brickbat. But majorly, we try to be civil, we try to be democratic, and we try to be disciplined.
Well, Segun, I want to stay with you before I come to Katch. Quickly here, listening to you, let me bring in this. Did that experience give you an insight into what Nigeria may be searching for in a president?
Until you are able to have a clean election where the people are, then nobody is, suppressing votes in certain regions of the country, where the transfer of the results and the entire electronic process of election has less human interference, where the instruments of question of state, the military, the security, and all of that do not play an overriding influence on that, where the resources of state does not come in too heavily to interfere and color the mood of the people, you won't be able to say this is what the Nigerians are saying, because normally, if we were to go by what we saw between 2015 and say about 2018, the telltale sign did not reflect a need for President Muhammadu Buhari to have won any election if people are not suffering from Stockholm syndrome. Why? They were doing well on the money. Nigerians were poorer. They were not doing well on employment. We're losing numbers. They weren't doing well on the robustness of even the economy. They weren't doing very well on.
Well, I think we seem to have a loss in that connection to you, Segun. We'll try to reestablish that. Let me quickly go to Katch. Katch, you've listened to Segun Showunmi, and he's just been able to tell us what it was like leading up to the 2019 election. You also, you were in the thick of things. You were speaking, to a lot of Nigerians at that point in time. In all of this, in your experience from the 2019 election, can you say that you now know what Nigerians need in a president? Going into 2023 elections, some are saying we must have a debate, and others are saying even if we must have a debate, there must be some salient things to look out for on, in who becomes president in 2023.
Yes, thank you very much. In 2019, we went round to campaign. I will tell you, the security problem I had been on solely, I believe that security problem has come to the fore today. It is very sad that even my party, the PDP, does not have a coherent approach to the security crisis that right now is on our hands. But I'm very happy that the Southern Governors Conference came together and actually looked at that security crisis. And because of that security crisis, they were very emphatic that a new president has to come from the South. That I agree. Because I believe the most existential threat Nigeria has today is the Fulani insurgency. You heard what happened today. Kaduna, that was well secure, very militarized Kaduna. Today, the Fulani terrorists shot into the Nigerian Defense Academy, killing officers, kidnapping officers. And not that this is new. We saw this. I was in Kaduna 3 weeks ago on behalf of the UN. When I got from the airport, started heading towards the Briningwari, it was left and right bandit country. So And I could tell you, if all within the vicinity of the airport, you had Fulani bandits, all of them there, stretching down to Breningwari, stretching down to Pandagali, down to Tegina, down to Kagara, on the right, from Breningwari to Huntua, all that, straight down to Kankara, all that geography was dominated by the Fulani bandits. And today, they made an audacious move inside the Defense Academy, killing officers and kidnapping some. That's why I say that even my party, the PDP, does not seem to have a coherent reaction to the security crisis by the Fulani insurgents. And a lot of these leaders, I believe, should start looking at what the Southern governors were saying in Lagos. Only a candidate from the South can actually face up to the Fulani insurgency. I see nobody from Northern Nigeria with the ability to face down on the Fulani irredentist movement driven by the Fulani elite that today we saw shot their ways into the Defense Academy. Why
let me comment here quickly, Katch. It looks to me that you have actually restricted this to two key things. For you, you're looking at security, and also you're looking at whoever becomes president must be from southern Nigeria. Is that what you're saying?
No, I am looking at security. The existential security threat is the uppermost concern for all Nigerians today. Why do I say that? Because the youth in the South have seen that the elders don't seem to have a coherent reaction to this security crisis. That's the reason why you've seen the youth in the South resort to separatism. I am talking to you today from Eastern Nigeria. Yesterday, nobody ventured out. Why? Everybody was afraid of what the youth could do. So if the elders have failed to lead from the front, and the youth are right now forcing their way from the back to the front row to start separatism, we must take that into account.
So before we go to Segun quickly here, so in all of this, because I wanted us, because you said something about southern president, so I was trying to get you clearly. I already get the point. Security is very important. We'll space it, we'll stretch it. Perhaps also Segun will also weigh in on that to tell us what he thinks about security, if that will also dominate the discourse as we move to 2023. But that point where you mentioned southern president is what I want you to space it more. So are you also thinking
it has been investigated, and we have seen no single politician from northern Nigeria can face down the Fulani Redentist movement who are driving this insurgency. Why do I say this? The insurgents are actually seen as the reserve army. Look at this. Buhari asks us he asked for land to resettle Fulani refugees from Mali and Central African Republic. We refused. He called it grazing reserve. We refused. He called it cow colony. We refused. He said he wants land in which embarking land of 6 kilometers from the water. He wants to consolidate underground and surface water. We refuse. In all this, he was looking for land. Today, he is trying to force himself on grazing routes. So this is the most existential problem. Buhari wants to position his people in a way that if we do not give the land, he will use the Fulani militia that I see as a reserve army to grab land, like you're seeing right now in Plateau, like you're seeing right now in Kaduna.
But again, I'll come to you. I'll come back to you, Katch, because I want you to stretch that, because President Buhari is not on the ballot for 2023. So one wonders how all of this will, play out when we talk about 2023 election. But I'll come back to you so that you don't lose your train of thought. Quickly here, Segun, Showunmi. Apologies, Segun, sorry for that glitch. Good to see you that you're back. So I want you to wrap up on where you stopped, because the question then was if your experience in the last election, 2019 election, also gave you an insight of what or who should be a Nigerian president.
Well, like I was saying, I was laying the foundation that the number matter if you are in a democracy. And I was also saying that the messaging also matters, because I was putting that on the back of the fact that we went to an election in 2019 where we truly believe that the indicators for the country were looking very bad. And therefore, for us, every election is a referendum on the ruling party and also a weigh-in or a buy-in into the message of the challenger. So it didn't sit well that somehow it seemed like Nigerians insisted on staying with what was not working for them. But that said, I need to quickly jump in on one thing that I heard my brother saying there. We can wish all we want. In a democracy, you must have to understand that certain things take procedures. For instance, if anybody wants to be a president in Nigeria today, he must first of all declare an intention. Now, if you want to follow the easy route, you must look for the politics of the two parties and probably wait for them to do their zoning. In any case, you are not going to be looking for a president that fits only one section of the country. We're looking for a president that fits and can solve the problem of the whole country. So when you are excessively fixated on only the southern part of the country, you kind of like get the impression that they are looking for a president that will come and victimize the North. No, that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for a president that can be the president of the entire Nigeria, that can try to solve some of the problems with collaborations of others, that can make all Nigerians begin to travel away from their tribal enclave, which mostly was, exaggerated by the handling of the Buhari presidency in this time. And it hasn't always been this bad in this country. Therefore, for us, we will say that there are 3 zones in Nigeria that seem to, if you want to go with the equity argument, nobody of the Northeast has been president, nobody of the North Central has been president, and truly nobody of the Southeast has been president. Now, if you want to go on the North-South divide, the thing that I also want to say there very quickly is that zoning is a prerogative of political parties. And in our history between 1999 till date, we have never had a time when any particular section of the country, we succeeded in locking them out. We didn't succeed in 1999. Alex Ekweme challenged Olusegun Obasanjo for the primary. He just wasn't that lucky. And all of the years that have followed, while the PDP will go in one direction, the alternate political party has stayed where they think that they can get the numbers. And beyond, getting upset and shouting and building castle in the sky, I'm not expecting the 2023 model to depart from that. The 2 main parties will take a decision on their zoning when they get to that bridge. And when they take a decision on their zoning, in spite of zoning, anybody that feels that he has what it takes to be president, he can connect to the citizens, he can win a collegiate election within the primaries, will become the candidate of the parties. And luckily, in Nigeria, we have about 18 parties now. Anybody who feels very strong about his popularity, maybe might also try his luck with some of the other parties. But to imagine that we're looking for a Nigerian president of North or Southern extraction, I think our situation now is very dire. Our situation is so dire, and I want to plead and I want to beg that we will not, on the basis of the challenge that we are seeing in the country today, demonize all the citizens of our country that come from the northern divide of this country. I'm not sure that every northerner in Nigeria can be held responsible for some of the actions that is going on there. And if one northern president is in charge and is of northern extraction, and people have a feeling that maybe he's not doing equity as he should, I do not accept that we can run a decent country by insisting that the conversation must always be North versus South. You know why? Because when you flip it that way, then it means that you're not going to transfer the challenge that is here today again to the large North, where they'll be thinking that every policy is about people trying to victimize them or trying to make them uncomfortable. We'll never have a calm country. What we need right now is a president of Nigerian extraction, is a president that can hit the ground running, is a president that has ideas, is a president that can bring a program and a set of policies that we can quickly connect to it, is a president that we recognize and we know is antecedent, is a president that we can trust. And if it comes from the north, so be it. If it comes from the south, so be it. If it comes from the southeast, so be it. If it comes from even the southwest, so be it. But I think that because of our elevated voices in public space, we must contribute to the solution of the country by not insisting that it always has to be us versus them.
You know, one of the takeaway from this very last conversation, Showunmi, is we must contribute, you know, to what will make Nigeria a better country. But again, I want to take you back. You said something, you said these regions, these zones, the northeast, the north-south, as well as the southeast have not produced a president in Nigeria. And also, very importantly here, you said you don't expect the two political parties to depart from what you have always seen. For instance, talking about the zoning and how, so tell us again, I want you to go back to that. Why do you say that you don't expect the two leading political parties in Nigeria to depart from that formula or that arrangement that many Nigerians have always seen, before now?
Thank you. The reason I said that is that, you see, the zoning for political party is exclusively a political party business. We don't have a cross-party zoning arrangement with any party. When we went south to Obasanjo, APP or AMPP as they call themselves, they went north. And when we went south again with Jonathan, they went somewhere else. When we went north with Yaradua, they stayed north. When we stayed south with Jonathan for 2015, they went north. Do you get what I'm trying to say? We are not in a universal zoning caucus with other parties. Zoning is the exclusive preserve of political parties. And for them to zone, many things go into that consideration. Some of them will be happening within their caucuses. And I tell you again, within those caucuses, they are always looking very critically at how they can win the election. They will consider the number game. They will consider the balance. They will consider some level of equity. They will consider every other thing in the book that gives them advantage. But ultimately, a political party struggles to win an election so it can form government. A political party is not an NGO to make people feel good. Anyone who wants to be president and is a member of a political party is at liberty to indicate interest. And sometimes you'll be amazed at the diversity of people who will buy the form and show that they want to be president part-time. And when the zoning has been done, then you will see that the party members usually fall behind whoever carries the day in their primary. And I believe that the APC will not be any different from that. They will consider many things too. And in all of the things they're considering, I'm sure they will also sit in their caucuses. They won't be waiting for PDP to tell them where to zone to. Neither will we be waiting for them to tell us where they should zone to. And I repeat for emphasis, we do not have a cross-zoning meeting across political parties. Everybody does the zoning according to its own rule of engagement and its own tradition.
Well, let me bring in Katch. Katch, good to see you back. We lost you for a bit, and that was when Segun said, very important things. He's also of the opinion that Nigeria should pursue what he calls a political inclusion. Nigeria should be looking at someone who's going to be accepted and also someone who understands the dynamics in the entire country. He feels that if we start talking about, moving this to a particular zone, it just might give the semblance of also shortchanging another zone. Quickly here, modern tribal or religious sentiments, Katch. Do you see Nigerians holding out for more qualities in their next president vis-a-vis what Segun Showunmi has highlighted?
I want to speak to him talking about people feeling shortchanged. Today, you can see the PDP crisis in regards to its chairmanship. That brickmanship has to do with the zoning. Now, all the current protagonists in the PDP who are angling for president cannot talk about people being cheated or people being excluded, because all of them were the people who led the PDP, went to the APC, and brought Buhari to power. Buhari has now done 8 years representing the North. Why? We run a representative democracy. These same people have left the APC and have now rushed back to the PDP. Try now to calibrate some kind of things for which you have seen a reaction to is the quest to ask the chairman to step down. That, of course, is ongoing today. In the consequence of the court ruling yesterday in Degema, the chairman stepped down, and today we're having new people trying to guide the party while he tries to repair himself in the court. Now, nobody will say they're being shortchanged. Why? The very people who talk about shortchanged are the same people who brought Buhari. If Buhari has done 8 years, the North has had its 8 years. Why? We run a representative democracy. You cannot bring Buhari and he finishes 8 years. You now come back and say you don't want to be decided against or cheated. How would that be? The man has done 8 years. So you cannot say that you do not accept the responsibility of your action.
What Showunmi is saying? He's saying that if this continues, then it's going in circles. The same complaint from one region is now being replicated by another region. Though I'll let him come in when you're done. But again, I just want you to understand because you were off when he said that. But that's what he was saying.
I had it. In 2015, most of the people in the PDP from the North actually stayed in the PDP and voted for Buhari. Some of them who left to go to the APC walked just the same way the Northern governors spoke then is what the Southern governors have now replicated, that the presidency should come from the South. So I don't see anything very different from that. Some stayed in the PDP, worked against the PDP, some left the PDP, went to the APC, worked for Buhari. After Buhari's 8 years, they are the same people telling you, as Segun is trying to tell us now, that they will feel that they have been decided against. How can you bring somebody from your place, he does 8 years, and now you say that somebody wants to decide against you? No, it is an equity. If we do not look at what the youths are doing, if we do not consider equity, because all about the separatism is all about equity. If we don't listen to what the youths are saying, take it from me, no elder has the capacity to stop the youths. And we don't want the youths to go down the path of separatism. We want equity. You can see today, God doesn't allow democracy. No matter what you vote, he will guide INEC to do what he wants. So let us, for the sake of the country, take away the struggle for the hands of the youth and allow equity. The North has done 8 years. It is now the turn of the South to do 8 years. If you don't want to do that, the youth are very likely to now take the struggle into their hands. And I don't think any elder can stop them.
Okay, we'll take a moment. When we'll come back, I'll allow Segun Showunmi, react to that. And also keep in mind, we'll also be talking about some other key things. The electoral umpire, which is the Nigeria's National Electoral Commission, INEC, already came up to say 2 million mark has been recorded in its online registration process. And we'll see how this can also help in the dynamics leading up to Nigeria's 2023 election. Join us again. Well, it's a home run here on VSA, and you know, with the current government taking its pride in its infrastructural drive and fight against corruption, it has not performed up to expectations in the areas of security and economy of the country, as highlighted by my guest. Almost 100 million Nigerians may be living in poverty, with the middle class gradually becoming an inexistent social class in the current Nigeria, no thanks to the constant loss of jobs, poor remuneration, and increasing prices of commodities. The innovative young Nigerians who have eked out a source of livelihood from technology and its many riches have also been frustrated by government's policies. Now, these make the next election an all-encompassing, all-involving one, and to many Nigerians as a golden opportunity to put Nigeria in a good position if all hands are on deck. I still have with me Segun, Showunmi, and Katch Ononuju. Before that break, I said I was coming back with to Segun Showunmi. We had Katch, and Segun, perhaps you want to space it more on what you highlighted, because Katch doesn't seem to be on the same page with you on this. It looks to me this was what you referred to in your opening.
I understand what Katch is saying, but what I have explained is what will play out. Doesn't matter what we're both saying. What I have said for emphasis is that zoning is purely a party business, and we do not have a cross-voting zoning arrangement with other parties. And I've given enough examples of when we zoned into one place where the other parties zoned to. And I say, and I stand by the fact that when the parties get to the point where they have to do their zoning, they're going to do their zoning. The APC will do its zoning based on its own calculation of what it thinks works for it, and the PDP definitely will do its zoning. Some of the smaller parties would also follow that lead. It's not going to take any other way. And I also said, maybe he wasn't hearing me, that anybody who wants to be president in Nigeria today, because of the dire situation we found ourselves, can't bully the system to make him president. You will have to, first of all, indicate that you want to be president. It's a personal and individual declaration, because we do not even, when we say zone, we're actually not going to give it to a zone, and that zone will now go and sit there in the corner and produce a candidate. It doesn't work that way. People of any zone that want to be president must indicate that they want to be president and do the politics required to be president. And I also went on to say that we should contribute to the solution of the country, in the sense that we must be careful that we do not keep this north-south divide too sharply. And I did say that the reason for that is that if a southerner can become president and does become president, if we run the narrative too hard that, oh, the south is the north was this, the north was that, and therefore is the south, you are going to be taking a great number of Nigerians in the north to become a bit suspicious of that fellow even before it starts. And I was advising that best for us to say, we're looking for a Nigerian that can lead the country, that fits some of the bills and ticks the boxes that Nigerians are looking for, and that especially the zones that have not produced before, which I reduced to northeast, north central, and southeast. I said they were not excluded, but I then went on to say that never forget that voting is called democracy because it's a game of numbers. The minority will always have their say, but certainly the majority will have their way. And no other thing will happen when you get to, from experience, and I know he himself is aware of that, nothing else will happen other than that when parties go into their conclaves to go and decide on their own zoning. That's what I was trying to say. Maybe he didn't get that. I also want to add, it is best for us now in this country to even ask, what makes Nigeria, all the leaders that have been here before now, why do they keep failing? And what exactly are the qualities we need in a leader that we think may be able to maybe move us forward a little bit, and then some other people will take us forward even further. Therefore, we cannot reduce the presidency of Nigeria in the next dispensation, in my opinion, to just tribal or religious sentiment. We will look for a lot more than that. And that is not to say that I do not believe that other people have those values. I believe that from all of the 250 groups in Nigeria, ethnic groups in Nigeria, you can find quality material among them. What we would then need to do now is to encourage them, those who have the wherewithal to challenge for this thing, we'll encourage them to come out with their ideas and all that. You must be known. If the people don't know you, they won't even go with you. Therefore, some of those people who are wishing to be president is beginning to get a little bit late because we are beginning to hear some names from all over Nigeria who are indicating interest one way or the other. And it is not no that will stop anybody who's legally entitled to contest an election if he meets the criteria.
Let me just stay with you, Segun, for a bit. And I want to take you back to 2020, where in an interview you said the people from Nigeria's southeast also deserve a shot at the presidency. Do you think the region is strategically placed to produce a president in Nigeria?
If you recall, that interview took place on, I think, TVC or Arise. I can't remember. I think it was on Arise. And I think it was my reaction to the fact that somebody was saying, I think of one of the leaders of the cabal then that is now late, may so rest in peace. I think it was Mamandara or someone who was alleged to have said that, oh, the Igbos was something about not being, they should belong. And in my reaction, I said, belong to what? They are Nigerians and therefore they're entitled. And I still hold that very strong view that material for president in the southeastern part of our country, the Igbos, must produce candidates who are willing to be president. And those candidates must come out frontally to say, we want to be president, not wanting to be an Igbo president, not wanting to be a southern president, but wanting to be a Nigerian president. And if the person is schooled and he understands the act of the politics involved, he will know that it will require him visiting all of the other zones. Don't forget, if you lock it into a tribal contest, then how would they even win if the bigger tribes are not with them? So I think that a whole lot of more diplomacy and a lot more persuasion and a lot more reaching out to be required to do that. Surely, if a material that is presidential in nature comes onto the table, if an Obama can win an election in America, we cannot put it past anybody winning an election, even in Nigeria. What I see happening and why I'm a little bit nervous about those who are asking for power without wanting to work for it is that they're not doing as much as they should do. I can tell you a few of them that I see on the field from research that I say, okay, this guy is trying, he's pushing it. I don't know whether they will get it or they won't get it, but they're pushing. Obviously.
I'll get to that part. I'll get to that, but certainly before we leave, I want you to tell us if you have anyone that you're watching who fits that, that position at the moment. I'll come to you, Segun and Katch, on that. Perhaps that's how we'll close the show. Let me come to Katch. Katch, we saw the former president, military president Ibrahim Babangida say the next president must be a man that has friends in every part of Nigeria and has the ears of the entire nation, and also one with a very strong economic perspective. Do you agree with him to start with?
He is very correct. He is very right. And when you think about somebody with a proper understanding of economics, we know who he's talking about. But you see, that's a leader's word, and that leader knows what he's talking about. A man with experience, a man acceptable, a man who understands economics. Not just a man who wants to be president. No.
Can I ask who exactly was he talking about? If you say we know who he was talking about, because I don't know. I don't know if Segun knows.
I wouldn't pinpoint. I know there are about 2 people who fit into that proper criteria who were available in the last presidential caucuses. And those 2 people, I know they were very prominent. Nigerians listen to their ideas, listen to their mindsets, and they're still there today in the game. And I believe President Babangida was very, very right to say that you need somebody who is known, visible, acceptable, known, and understands economics. And not just understanding economics, but a man who also has dealt in economic matters. And the country has seen that person succeed dealing in economic matters from an executive position. So we know the people that President Babangida was talking about. And I do agree with him completely.
Would you want to give an insight as to perhaps give names so that we can start having the analysis, going forward?
Oh, well, from when he talked about that, I remember two people. Two of them were valuable in the possession of secrets. I remember Governor Peter Obi. I remember Deputy Governor Kingsley Moghalu, and these people fit in properly to what Buhari was saying. I believe they have better grasp of economics than anyone else that was available on the political space in regards to the presidency. But then, that's why I'm saying right now, since the governor said, let's do it in the South, and the current protagonists right now were all people who went to the APC to bring in Buhari, they should accept that Buhari's 8 years represents the North. Segun can't be telling me what he's telling me when in 2015, those were exactly the words the North has to come. The North has to have a candidate. Then the Northern governors, together with these same politicians, said all parties should field Northern candidates. And that was how, when the Qataris come in and the Saudis come in with their pressures on Obama, he settled for President Buhari because all of those people converged on President Buhari.
Let me get this because let me get this clearly, Dr. Katch, before I go to Segun, because Africa is actually watching this program. Are you saying there were some kind of lobbying from the Qataris and the Saudis on who becomes president in 2015?
Yes, that was it. Was I'm not saying that was exactly what happened. The Qataris and the Saudis were principally those who got Obama to insist a Sunni has to succeed, good luck. And that was what happened. The Qataris are still there in that game. I was in Washington about 2-3 times, and I understood what the Qataris and the Sunni and the Saudis were doing. And that was why when Buhari emerged, he went to those countries to thank them. The Qataris and the Saudis have not stopped. So I know that's a catastrophic decision we're all allowed to call because Buhari doesn't seem to believe in Nigeria. But that you also remember, I did 12 debates with Lai Mohammed, and I pointed this out, that Buhari would be a disastrous mistake. Today, he doesn't believe in Nigeria. Today, he is promoting a reserve army who drives the Fulani insurgency. Today, the governors in the Southern Conference insist the new president should come from the South. I agree with them. For the sake of the country's security, nobody, no matter what they tell you, can control the current agitation for separatism being embarked upon by the young people.
And what do you think? What exactly do you think? What exactly?
When we had trouble in the Southwest.
Katch, a moment. Just let me throw this in before I go to a moment. Katch, let me throw this in. What are those things or those qualities the southern politicians have that President Buhari and those from the north don't have, that makes you think that they hold the recipe to solving Nigeria's insecurity problems, especially the invasion of herdsmen?
It's not a herdsman thing. There is a Fulani insurgency. Don't be deceived with the masking of the issue as herdsmen. No, there is a Fulani insurgency currently raging. And from what we have seen, nobody in the north can stand up to the Fulani redemptist movement who seem to be driving this insurgency. And that's why I believe it's a national security exigency. And this existential national security threat, which you saw today manifest itself in NDA, can only be resolved when we deal with this issue in a holistic country manner. A Southerner will deal with the security problem far more than anyone in the north.
And I'm asking, I'm asking how can the Southerner do that? What does a Southern Nigerian have that the Northern Nigerian doesn't have?
The Fulani insurgents and those who drive them would not respect any politician from the north. That is very clear. That is very, very clear. Those driving the insurgency will not listen to any politicians from the north. You remember what happened after 2019 when they turned on Atiku? What Atiku did? He ran away to Dubai.
Let me bring in Segun here. Segun, quickly here. I want you to start first before you react. I want you to start from the comment of former president, military president Ibrahim Babangida, and also ask if you also have possible names who fit the bill.
Well, let me first of all start by saying that I remove myself completely from the comments of my friend that seeks to portray a sitting Nigerian president in the light that he chooses to portray him. I totally distance myself from that. The second thing is that I also distance myself completely from any group shaming or group precarious liability that you put on an entire race because of some of the issues of today, consistently mentioning the Fulani. I distance myself from that. I needed to set that straight so that nobody gets the impression that these views are views that are shared by everybody. No, I don't share those views. Now, to the question you've asked me, I listened to Babangida interview very well. I accept the description of who he's looking for, except that I do not accept that there's an age ceiling to who can lead the country. Why? Because democracy itself doesn't even work that way. Democracy does not include the fact that anybody that is qualified can be excluded. So for that alone, I think anybody that is qualified, that thinks he has the energy, the ideas, the resources, the wherewithal to run for an election in Nigeria, our constitution and our democracy guarantees those people the right to contest. And so that's what I'll say on the Babangida one. On the one that has to do with, some people went to APC and then went to PDP and went to this. That's totally not necessary. Why? Because every political party has its rules as to how it takes back members when they cross and how they wait for them and keep them in there. There are a lot of people in the PDP today who have also gone to the APC. Would you then expect them, just because they've gone to the APC, now not to be treated fairly? And therefore, I also do not think that that's acceptable. Anyway, that is not the policy of political parties. Then on the issue of Atiku going on holiday, or I don't know what you mean by run away, I think that we should expect that leaders can be criticized a bit, but I think that anything that borders on amitabhation and almost near rudeness is quite unfortunate. What he calls run away is not exactly run away. Any leader that is a Democrat will try as much as possible to allow the system to settle in, and politics cannot be a one all year round for the 4 years. After one election, you run into another election. No. In the last 2 years, what Atiku has done is that he's gone abroad because he has a house there and everybody knows that. He's gone to school. He's created another opportunity to, refresh himself with the new realities of the world. Technology is making sure that you have to keep learning and relearning every day, and he's doing that. And he's back in the country. And even when he was outside the country, I challenged anybody to show me any politician of opposition material that either made comment, made suggestions, or even commented on issues like Atiku did. But we are big enough to accept some of these body punches insofar as they don't come out being a bit rude. Atiku did not run anywhere. He's in the country and he's been around, and where he is known. Now, on the issue of maybe thinking that two people are the ones that fit the bill, what I would say on that is something that I heard Babangida say when I was still in university, and that is that we may not know who the next president of Nigeria would be. I say that with every sense of responsibility. But we know those who cannot even on their own win an election in a democracy. And I believe that when we get to the bridge of an election, we will then find out whether the numbers support some of these energetic postulations. Now, in terms of the people that can rule the country now, that can try, I hold the view that anybody who wants to be president must come out of the bullet now. From the APC, the person that I see that is pushing very hard is Yaya Bello. I don't know whether they will give him the ticket in their party, but I watch him every day. I see a lot of media walks. I see people endorsing him. I see women doing all of that on the side of their party. Most of the other people in the APC, all I see them do is sit down on one spot and wait for somebody to come and do them favors, similar to the kinds of things that my friend is expecting people will do for the others. And on the side of PDP, I'll single out two people immediately. His Excellency Atiku Abubakar is out there doing consultations and all that. And certainly Bukola Saraki, the former Senate president, is also out there. He's doing a lot of consultation, he's pushing. Why have they not declared? Because there's a rule to declare it. You have to make sure that some of the issues are settled. For instance, you want to solve the issue of party. You want to make sure that the party is a vehicle that can win an election. And then you can declare. But in between the time and now, what smart politicians do is that they start to build their alliances again. They start to connect to the people. They start to do a lot of visitation. But you know, the future is very pregnant. And in that very pregnant future, we will see what becomes of each and every one of them's ambition. But I will also say, and for emphasis too, the democracy anywhere in the world does not imagine that you can exclude anybody, let alone people that have numbers. I also know that people say Osinbajo wants to be president. He keeps denying it, but I don't know whether he's serious about it. I know that Bola Tinubu, people talk about him wanting to be president. I've not seen any strong action in that direction. The ones that I've seen strong actions, I've told you, I've seen strong actions from Yaya Bello. I've seen strong action from Atiku. I've seen strong actions from Bukola Saraki in terms of reaching out to people.
Let's close on this because we're really out of time.
I'm a fan of Peter Obi, but I always challenge Peter. If you want to be president, you need to come out there and tell the world that you want to be president. You can't speak around issues and pretend as if people are going to get the message that you want to be president. The presidency of Nigeria doesn't work that way.
Segun, we're out of time. Let's see if we can do this, both of you, in 30 seconds. Starting with you, Segun, and it has to do with the registration, online registration by INEC. So far, INEC said, about
You've done 2 million.
Yes, 2 million. So what do you think about that process?
You know, I know a lot of people are fixated on this electronic registration, but for me, I've always insisted that what does it really guarantee in terms of integrity? I'm more interested in an electoral process that has minimal interference with people. I'm more interested in an electoral process that allows people to be able to vote in a manner that they can do it online, they can do it in multiple places, they can transfer results electronically, whatever. I'm more interested in an election process that has a lot of integrity. As far as I'm concerned, whether you register and then go back and collect your voter's card, it doesn't really add much to it. And the number is 2 million. I believe that more people could have still registered, and I want to call on Nigerians not to look for a perfect system. They should go out there and go and register. And I'm also saying that my party, the PDP, has its own portal open again to receive members. People should go out and register. And those who want to run cross-party fertilization of zoning and all that, they will have to come and tell us under what platform they hope to achieve.
Let's quickly bring in Katch. Katch, a closing one on the INEC registration for you.
Oh, yes, we've seen the registrations. We're watching. It's one thing to say you're registering. It's another thing to make sure that the registrants and their votes do count. But that we have not yet seen. If Buhari and his gang insist that there will be no automatic transmission electronically of the voting activities to collection centers, it still means that no matter what registrations you do, those people's votes may still not count. So I really do not take seriously anything that INEC is doing right now. I'm very much concerned with the existential security problem that seems to challenge us all.
Okay, I think it's a fine place, Dr. Katch. Apologies. I think it's a conversation that will continue, gentlemen. Honestly, we have less than 600 days to the next election. So, Segun, Showunmi, and Katch Ononuju, many thanks for being such nice company on the show. Always a delight having you join me to talk about one of Africa's biggest countries' development, Nigeria. So if you want to be a part of the process of choosing the next president, you should begin from now. Talk about it, register to vote, educate others. You're also important to how Nigeria will find its next president. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.